What's up, nerds, and welcome back to another Destiny 2 video. So, when I started out making this video, the original idea was to showcase just some outright toxic Titan gameplay with sticky grenades and oppressive darkness, and call it something like the oppressive Titan build or something that sounded cool. I don't know. It was going to be just a complete video of the loadout, everything that I had on, and then just clip after clip of me running through the Crucible, sticking people with magnetic grenades left and right, and doing some serious damage. But when I finally got into it, I ran into an issue that I really didn't expect. The majority of my grenades were not actually getting a one-hit kill like I had intended to show. So, being a reasonable person that I am, I did what anyone in my position would do. I begged my buddies to let me chuck nades at them in a private match for a while and see what happens. Luckily for me, Dan has been out sick, so instead of making more videos for the channel, he let me use him as a virtual ballistics target, and that's what we did. So, let's take a look at this and see what we came up with, and see if we can come up with why one-shot nades with the oppressive darkness and magnetic grenades was not working. To start, let's take a look at what is supposed to happen with this build, and then we'll talk about why and what we think is going on. Obviously, that is an ideal situation right there. The reason being is that the magnetic grenade has a specific mechanic that makes it crazy good at working with oppressive darkness. And if they're standing still, it's great because you know it's going to work. As we all know, oppressive darkness, which has become probably one of the most widely used mods of the current season due to the damage buff that it gives. Well, technically it's a debuff, but the damage increase that it gives in PvP. And it causes a weakening effect after damage from a void grenade. Right? Pretty straightforward. Do damage with a void grenade, and then basically all damage is increased against that opponent for a short period of time. Then you bring in the magnetic grenade, which explodes twice when it's stuck to a guardian or when it sticks to the target. And essentially it should be a one-shot kill. That's what you would expect to happen, and in an ideal world, that's what does happen. However, the reason this works so well with the magnetic grenade is that it's actually doing damage 3 times. Well, technically, I think it can actually happen more. You'll see in some of the background footage, I actually got a precision hit for 2 damage after the initial damage click, but the first damage is applied with the stick, and it hits for 1 damage point. Then, the subsequent explosions both happen with the increased damage against your opponent for 98 damage each, bringing the total amount of damage that's done by the magnetic grenade with a stick to 197, which is enough to take out anyone with less than a tier 7 resilience on their character. As a side note, resilience over tier 7 allows them to escape with just a sliver of health. I mean, barely anything left, but it's enough to get away because they get a 10% shield buff at tier 7. So that's why that works. If they're tier 7, they can still survive it. But that being the case, I wanted to know, why wasn't I getting kills on most of the grenades that I managed to stick? Did I happen to run into a bunch of guardians with crazy high resilience? Probably not. Did I somehow miss and the nade didn't actually stick? Not likely, since I was getting the double explosion, which is what happens when it sticks. Was there some sort of secret nerf to how grenade damage was applied that we didn't know about and that they snuck in there on the last patch and didn't tell us? I don't think so. I mean, I scoured the internet and couldn't really find anything to validate that theory either. So that brings us to the test with Dan. So let's talk about kind of what we did and where it got us. So to start, I just threw nades straight at him just to see what happened. To be honest, I threw a lot of grenades at Dan. Like, a lot. Ooh, see? As expected, he took the 1 point damage, followed by the 98 explosions, and that took him out. So clearly, it's not a nerf to the damage from the grenade stick, because then it wouldn't have worked at all. So now I thought maybe it had to do with where the grenade hit. What if the one damage point was only applied to the head or somewhere specific when it hit the body of the other person? So I hit Dan right square in the face to make sure it killed him. And then I stuck one to his foot. And after all of them working consistently, we decided to try something else. What if he moved? So we had him start out on the left side of the screen, and he just ran straight across in front of me, and I stuck him. And oddly enough, he didn't die. And it's because he didn't take the initial damage from the grenade sticking to him. So we decided to run with this theory, right? So we started thinking movement. So we changed the angle that he was running in relation to where I was standing. And again, slightly different angle, coming a little more directionally at me. No damage from the initial contact, so he didn't die. We switched it up and made it an even steeper angle. So he was running almost directly at me, but still on an angle. Boom. No contact damage. He survived. So I had him run at me head on, thinking maybe it's just purely movement. Runs at me head on, boom. Grenade hit, 1 damage, and then he's gone. He's toast. So, okay, I thought maybe it has to do with speed. So we tried doing it a little bit slower. Same result. 1 damage from the contact, boom, he's done. Then we tried him running away from me. This time, he didn't take the initial 1 damage from the grenade sticking to him, and he survived the grenade. So after this, we thought, okay, well, maybe it's a distance thing, right? Maybe as he was running at me, he closed the gap enough that he was able to survive the blast, and when he was running in front of me, he just was too far away. Well, that wasn't it. After several attempts, we were still seeing consistent one-hit kills with the initial contact damage of 1, and then the 98-98 follow-up explosions. So it wasn't a distance issue. But then we tried the same thing, and we tried him running at a slight angle again. And once again, he didn't take the initial contact damage, so he didn't die. So after all this, we started to think about what was consistent when he didn't take his initial damage and survived the grenade. And in almost every case where he survived, he was moving in a way that caused the grenade to have to curve slightly to track to him. And so what we came up with, and this is a total guess, but it's what we think is the case here, is that the impact of the grenade is slightly reduced when it tracks to the target, leading to it doing just slightly less than that 1 damage. Therefore, it doesn't get the initial 1 damage point, and then the Oppressive Darkness mod doesn't kick in because those second explosions are no longer at the higher damage level. Going back to my Crucible gameplay, I went in and slowed down the footage, and sure enough, every time it connected after curving into the opponent, it didn't do the initial 1 point damage. When it did hit them dead on and did the 1 point damage, it was a direct hit. The grenade didn't have to curve, didn't have to track to them. It was just a nice straight throw, connected, did the damage, and moved on. So, our working theory on this, if you're having problems with Oppressive Darkness and magnetic grenades not getting a consistent one-hit kill, it's related to the way that your opponent is moving and how the grenade tracking for the magnetic grenade causes it to change momentum slightly enough that it doesn't do the initial click of damage. That's our theory. If you guys have any other opinions, feel free to let us know. This is just what we came up with in our testing. So here's a look at a few more good plays, some more fails with the grenade, with my Oppressive Titan build or whatever I was going to call it. And also at the end, I threw in a clip of my team absolutely handling some enemy supers that I just had to share because I felt pretty good about it. So as always, if you guys enjoyed the video, give it a like, leave us a comment with your experiences trying your version of whatever this build was and how you guys liked it. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you can watch all of our latest videos as soon as they drop. Until next time, later nerds.
Be advantage is yours. Zone B locked. 30 seconds. Zone B captured. You have zone advantage. Your advantage grows. Stay. Fire team that fights together stays together.